Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Stop the narcissist now. This narcissist spirit is a force to be reckoned with. The person before who doesn't have a sense of fair play and will do anything to win first prize in breaking your spirit and making you beg for more. We are less of a target if we remember this and deal with them accordingly. The first rule of engagement is to know your enemy. Never let an adversary break your spirit. Your spirit is your essence. The monkey dance is just another childish tactic that the narcissist uses to try to intimidate their victims into submitting to whatever the narcissist wants, like a toddler that will scream, throw things, bang on walls, hit themselves, and fake cry hysterically. This worked when they were children, and their underdeveloped brain doesn't understand that they are now adults and in adult world, so they play this game whoever will buy into it. Narcissists have playing games with their victims, especially on online or text messages version. They will start with a conversation with you, and when you respond, they will ignore you. If you repeatedly message them back to keep the conversation going while being ignored, the narcissist will feel superior because it proves that they can disrespect others and still be sought after. If you call them out on this game, they will say that they were busy and you must be paranoid or needed to think else ourselves. To heal from the damage of the narcissist caused, we must admit that we were fooled and that the thing taken from us was our innocence. We were naive about the fact that such wild people exist. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Don't take on the shame that a narcissist should be feeling. Don't let them project that on you. That their way to shut you up about their dirty deeds. You were kind to them under extreme circumstances, and that is not a thing to be ashamed of. Seeing them in their true light under the mask is the only way to deal with them. Don't let them mesmerize you forever behind the mask. Narcissists do not feel guilty if they get caught doing something illegal, immoral. When they try to appear remorseful or ashamed to receive the lesser punishment, but there isn't any feeling behind this. They may even promise changes in their behavior, or they may place mixed repressions to their victims, but that will never happen. It's just another manipulation tactic to escape free on their bad behavior. Narcissists are morally disordered people. You know this because you have to explain things like empathy to them or have a point out how they are hurting others with their cruel acts. If they do apologize, which is rare, don't excuse their bad behavior so quickly. If they are really sorry, they will apologize at them to make amends and not repeat the behavior again. You shouldn't have to explain basic social skills to a grown person. After spending some time with the narcissist, you'll find that you are more of a detective than a friend, spouse, lover, or neighbor to them. Relationship won't be normal one with healthy interactions. You're trying to decode or decipher all the hidden motives and meanings that the narcissist throws at you. They simply can't be trusted. Narcissists seem to flock the teaching position to prey on the most vulnerable members of the society. They also happen to imitate blind monkeys that most students are too scared to do anything. But if a student openly disagrees with the narcissist teacher, they will be ridiculed and shut down. The teacher will then declare that the season on them and encourage other students to abuse them also. The narcissist will resort to damage control when their bullying tactics or mistreatment of others is exposed by their victim. They will say that the person laying these charges against them is unstable, lying, jealous, and any other number of smears to divert the attention away from the hideous act of a narcissist committed and to try to put the negative attention on the victim so their claims appear to be trustworthy and not to be believed. Don't believe the lies that I'm a narcissist. I'm your knight in shining armor. It's your dream come true. The narcissist's greatest enemy is the truth. They will go to the great lengths to avoid it at all costs. If anyone doesn't make believe with them in their fantasy world or refuses to accept the lies, they are condemned the enemy and are either avoided or set as a target to destroy. The narcissist avoided dialogue again by yelling, screaming, and calling me names. The narcissist's greatest fear is that the mask will slip and the world will see the ugly within. If you find yourself feeling down and depressed because you were targeted by a narcissist and you are trying to deal with the losses that this destructive relationship caused, just remember that you are still better off than the narcissist. You can still feel love and give love. Be kind, appreciate Good people, be charitable, be fair, be honest, be nurturing, be reliable, be dependable. The narcissist has none of these in their life and will never will. They will never be half the person you are, and they'll never be happy no matter what their social media says. Normal, healthy people, I really need normal, healthy people in my life. Oh, look, the narcissist is fake crying again. People always ask the narcissist, all went to the same school because they all use the same tactics to manipulate people. If you look closely, these tactics are just like the ones they all used to get their own way. It comes down to them getting what they want without taking any responsibility or making any positive changes. Are you soft target for narcissists? Do you give up everything, everyone the benefit of the doubt? Do you believe that most people are good people? Do you have everything to anyone that asks of you? These may be commendable traits, but the narcissists see these as the kinks in your armor and weaknesses that they can use to go on. Your trust is earned and shouldn't be given away freely. Trust how you feel, not lies spewing from their lying lips. Driven by rage, jealousy, and God only knows what else, cooking up the new ways to destroy their offspring. Did you know that she's mentally unstable and crackhead? That's nothing, but on the street is that she's a Russian agent. Beware of the narcissist flying monkeys. They are committed to carrying out the dirty work of the master, so do it so they themselves won't become the narc's target, and some do it out of pure joy. If the narcissist notices that something is bothering you, they will ask you what is bothering you, not because they care if you are under distress, or not because that they want to help, it's because they're worried that it may affect their life somehow, always about them. Did you find out about the light? Did you find how they are having an affair? When you tell them that it has nothing to do with them, they will go right back into blissful oblivion, not caring what difficulties you are facing alone. Oh my God, the narcissist posted their face on social media without photoshopping at first. Narcissists will accuse you of being authoritarian or controlling if you speak to them about their lack of basic life skills. They don't want to wake up on time to housework, balance their bank books, feed their pets on time, turn off their lights when not in use. They will forever be toddlers and will always be a big meanie. Still trying to figure out how a grown-up person can be so immature and childish when it comes to taking responsibility or admitting fault. I heard that they are now called narcissists. Back in my days, they used to call pantywaist. No matter what goes wrong in a narcissist's life, it will be another's fault. The fake person will be not only them admit that they made a mistake, they must be seen as a perfect and innocent at all costs, and if nothing else is your fault, then you must be punished. This is why they can never change. To grow and change, you must be able to see your mistakes and work towards fixing them instead of hanging your shortcomings on others. They are simply lost causes and the big waste of time. Narcissists love to drink. It may be because they have an excuse to behave badly. I screwed your best friend. I was really drunk. I threw the cat off the window. I was really drunk. I smashed you in the face. I was really drunk. You are then expected to turn blind eye and not hold them responsible. Once you see the ugly truth about the narcissist, you can't unsee it. Once you catch them in a lie, you can't believe them. Once you comprehend how selfish they are, you quit asking for favors. Once you feel the hurt they cause, you start protecting yourself. Once you realize that they don't care for you, you stop caring for them. Narcissists are not of this earth. Watch your actions and pay no attention to their words. The narcissist will constantly say that they love you and then treat you poorly. What they love is that they have you confused and hanging on to an abusive relationship. Words are meaningless without actions to back them up. Gaslighting. Some creep trying to convince you that what you know is to be true isn't true. Trust is your instincts. The narcissist only feels power when they are stepping on someone else. When you realize that a fake person wearing a mask is causing so much disruption in your world, your life will change. The narcissist is nothing more than a fraud and a coward. Behind that mask is a sick individual who has lost their real life self long ago. They have been play acting so that they don't even know who they are anymore. Never cry for anyone that isn't crying over you. Your love is precious. Your integrity is valued. Your empathy is a gift. You are honorable and stronger than you know. Don't let the narcissist steal your joy anymore. The narcissist flying monkeys reporting back to their master. Narcissist rage. Don't believe my lies, outrage. Don't point out my errors, outrage. Expect responsibility, outrage. You dare talk back, outrage. You ask questions, outrage. I don't get of my way, outrage. Stop the narcissist now. Narcissist, unethical, bad, morally wrongful, wicked, evil, foul, unprincipled, unscrupulous, dishonorable, dishonest, unconscionable, iniquitous, disreputable, corrupt, depraved, vile, villainous, nefarious, base, miscreant, sinful, godless, impure, unjust, unvirtuous, shameless, degenerate, debased, debauched, dissolute, reprobate, lewd, obscene, perverse, perverted, dishonest, wanton, promiscuous, loose, shady, low down, crook, steezy, sleazy, childish, selfish. If you could look inside the mind of the narcissist, you would see something like this. They are empty and dark inside with no hopes, dreams, and love for anyone, including themselves. This is why they create a false persona to not only fool the world, but also themselves. They know that they aren't right in the head and that people are repulsed when they see the ugly truth. The narcissist letting their skills show after a long day of acting is like a good, caring person. Paul, what was the most embarrassing thing your narcissist did in front of the family, friends, or in public to make you recoil in horror? Don't you wish the narcissist's true character manifested itself in their physical appearance as a warning to the normal people of the world? It isn't. No, so we have to stay Wellington and not give up a trust away so easily. Let that be earned. Yes, would definitely be wonderful to see those flanks and big as rat tails swaying behind them and to visually see them as the gator rats that they are. Social psychologist Erich Fromm first coined the term malignant narcissist in 1964, describing it as a severe mental sickness repressing the quintessence of evil that characterized the condition as the most severe pathology and the root of the most vicious destructiveness or an inhumanity. It's easier to solve this than to get the narcissist to admit fault. Make no mistake, the narcissist flying monkeys can be just as dangerous as the narcissist, or even more so. The flying monkey is the henchman that does the dirty work for the tyrant, and they do it with glee. They are outranked by the narcissist in plotting skills, but they make up for that in the destruction they cause. If you took all the time the narcissist said, I don't know, and added them up, you would have to come to the conclusion that you're dealing with a complete moron that doesn't know why they do and say things. If you look deeper, you'll realize that they say it when you catch them off guard and they can't come up with a lie quick enough. That confused dumb look on the narcissist's face when they explain how normal people behave in a healthy relationship, you can't miss it. The head cocks to one side and the eyes glaze over. You may as well be talking to a wall, except the wall isn't going to certainly get you angry and attack you because you just pointed out a flaw in it and poked a hole in his false reality. Stop the narcissist now. My Valentine, she loves me. Loves to see me cry. I'll never understand why. I know I must desist. She's just a narcissist. Name something you would rather have than your narcissist be your side. Sarcasm only. The narcissist on Valentine's Day. The narcissist mother found this again. Keep your head level. You may be kissing a devil. I hope the sleeping pills and the cake work quickly. My secret lover will pick me up soon. Nakuploy brought to you by Vaheguru. I have found the easiest way to get a narcissist out of your life is to bombard them with truth. Speak the truth when they lie. Speak the truth when they gaslight you. Speak the truth when they project their ugly behavior onto you. Speak the truth when they steal from you. Speak the truth when they throw a pity party for themselves. Speak the truth when they blame you for their anger. And speak the truth when they claim to love you. Just like vampires cannot stand the light of the day, the narcissist hates the truth and will run back into the darkness they came from. Narcissists are inequitable in moral compass where anything goes with them as long as they don't get caught. They know what they are doing will be rejected by society, and their dirty deeds are done in secret. It's not unusual to find out that the narcissist views their old relatives as fair game when it comes to romance, that they also don't have any qualms about selling their souls to the creepy old uncles or aunts for monetary gain. In the narcissist world, everyone is fair game and will be used to benefit them. Stop making excuses for a narcissist. They know they are lying to you. They know that they are cheating on you, that they know they are stealing from you, they know that they are treating you bad, that they know that they are disrespecting you. They know that they are punishing you. They know that they are overstepping the boundaries. They don't care. They only care about how much abuse you will allow. Night of the Living Narcissist. But understand this in the last days, there will come times of difficulty, for people will be the lovers of the self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient of the parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving God, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness but denying its power. Avoid such people. One of the narcissist tricks is lying by omission. For example, when asked why they are so late in getting home, they will say that they stopped at the store and had to wait in a long line. But what they leave out is that they met their ex there and spend most of the time talking to them. If you are dealing with a narcissist, you're dealing with someone that is committed to deceiving you every chance they get. Honesty and transparency are foreign concepts to them unless they're demanding it of you. If you are in a relationship with a narcissist, you are in a war for your heart, mind, and soul. The enemy has infiltrated your camp and uses psychological warfare to break you down so they can rule over you. Realize what you're dealing with and put on your full armor so that you can withstand their attacks and emerge victorious. Narcissists are basically little bitches. Don't believe me. Try getting one to sit down and talk about the bad behavior or how they treat people. They will start stomping their feet and screaming their little bitch heads off, blaming you for their actions and how you did this and that 10 years ago. If you are lucky, they will run from the room, preferably the house, because they can't face the fact that someone so far below them dare confront them about anything. You are not dealing with a rational adult here. You are dealing with a spoiled, rotten little bitch in a grown-up body. Know this and proceed accordingly. For he flatters himself in his own eyes that his iniquity cannot be found out and hated. Speak the truth even in your voice, if your voice shakes. What saddens me the most is that the person I love doesn't exist. All that stands before me is but an actor. What angers me the most is that I lost precious time caring for you. This is how many lies you caught the narcissist in. This is how many they are actually told. Narcissism is a moral disorder. Trust your instincts. They never lie, unlike the narcissist. Love is what is love? We have no such emotion. Master of disguise, cold-blooded, survives by deceiving. No, I'm not talking about the chameleon. They are the characteristics of the narcissist. The narcissist, you can't withstand the storm. Me, I'm the storm. All narcissists have some form of arrested development. When dealing with them, you will swear that you are dealing with a toddler or a teenager instead of a grown-ass adult. Instead of doing conflict resolution, they will cry, scream, yell, throw things, threaten suicide, go silent, run to another room or out of the house, slam door, hit you, claim that you don't love them, say that you are mean and abusive, and the list goes on and on. The narcissist doesn't want to change or be held accountable. It will never be an equal relationship. You'll always be the parent of a snotty brat. If you have confronted a narcissist and told them that you believe they are the narcissist, they will go full force with a smear campaign against you just in case you tell others of their secret. They will say that they are damaged and jaded, and now you think everyone is a narcissist. They will say that you can't have a healthy relationship because of this and that. They tried so hard to love you, but you just weren't capable of letting anyone in. This is the damage control at its finest. The narcissist evil grin is something everyone who has dealt with these monsters have seen. They don't even realize that they are doing this or that. They look like some kind of demented clown. This is one of those rare times that you get a glimpse into the dark abyss that is their soul and peek behind the mask. This is their true character, and you should deal with them accordingly. More often than not, you will find that your narcissist partner will sneak out of the bed while you are sleeping, and you'll usually find them on the internet or texting. On their phones, they will claim to have insomnia or aches and the pains of some kind that keep them awake when they are actually talking to others in their harem. They never use a faithful narcissist. There never was a faithful narcissist and never will be. Does the narc, remain friends with one or more of the exes, even though they are in a romantic relationship with another pole? All the world is a stage to a narcissist. The public will rarely catch a glimpse of the true nature of the monster. These fake it all day, every day. Until they get to home, it's almost as if the narcissist is so tired of all the acting that they unwind by mistreating their closest to them. Those people are somehow tied to the start, and be it financially, family ties, or one-sided love, and the narcissist sadistically takes full advantage of the situation. Narcissists leave a long trail of the broken hearts and broken dreams in their wake after an encounter with one of these frauds. You are left with not only feeling the hurt that comes with the betrayal, but you have to get your head around the fact that you were conned. This person used you. When the shock subsides, you have to then mourn an illusion the person you loved. Have faith, though, because one day you will look back and say, what the hell was I thinking? Narcissists are the ultimate perverts, considered the synonymous for pervert. Distort, corrupt, subvert, twist, bend, abuse, misapply, misuse, misrepresent, misinterpret, or falsify. The narcissist does every one of these things and more. They have played so loosely with the truth and the reality for so long that there is no coming back for them. Everything good is bad and everything bad is good in the twisted world. Stop questioning if the narcissist loves you or not. Someone who loves you doesn't lie to you, cheat on you, steal from you, belittle you, gaslight you, or hit you. Don't let the knowledge of real love get warped and twisted. But the narcissist lies. You know that real love is, and you know how real love feels and how real love acts. You may have lost your heart to the narcissist, but don't lose reality. They are out to destroy all good things in their path, including you. If you have had an intimate relationship with a narcissist, you have literally danced with the devil, the person you fell in love with and admired, and turned into a stranger right before your eyes, and not a very nice stranger. You begin to realize that you never really knew this person, and that the whole relationship was just smoke and mirrors, a ploy to extract whatever it was the narcissist needed from you. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary is a devil. As a roaring lion walked about seeking whom he may devour. One of the narcissist's weapons to confuse and have you doubt your own identity. They will proclaim their love for you 1 minute and then openly flirt with someone else the next. They will buy you flowers and later that day give you the silent treatment. They will have you analyzing yourself to see what you are doing wrong to make them act this way. They have conditioned you into believing that they stray or treat you bad because of something you have done. You feel their bad behavior but make excuses for them because you believe that they love you, and it must be your actions that are pushing them away. Crying and lying is what narcissists do after a relationship ends. They will always tell others that they were the victim of an abusive person and that they tried so hard to make it work, but the relationship was just too unhealthy. Of course, they leave out all the dirty deeds they have committed during this relationship to look like the poor little innocent victim of a monster. It's impossible for a narcissist to ever admit any wrongdoing, especially to themselves. Some people collect coins, painting pottery, and other things that give them pleasure, but narcissists collect people. They need the reserve of people to give them attention and people to use them. Others catch on to their games and discard them, or the narcissist get bored with him or need someone new to feed off of. It's not unusual for a narcissist to have 2 or 3 intimate relationships going at one time, either in person or online. Remember, what the narcissist had you fooled and you thought highly of them? Things change. After even a very short time with them, you start noticing that the things they say didn't add up, and their circumstances are always unusual and odd like. The title company lost the title of my house. The hospital refuses to release my medical records because of the glitch into the system. I couldn't pick up the grocery because there was a police accident and the store was closed. Finally, enough is enough. And you start doubting everything they say, and they go from the pedestal to the toilet, and you are left wondering how the person gets like this. Some narcissists will tell you that they are or were the manager or owner of a business, but when you dig deeper, you will find out that they were actually just a waitress or a low-level worker, if they even worked at all. Narcissists have to always act like they are more important than any real, and they lie all the time. They have doubts about the many stories you hear about them. Check it out yourself. Make a phone call, drop it unexpectedly, talk to other people that work there and find out the truth. If you do confront them about their lying, be prepared for a crazy person in your face. The next time you call out a narcissist on their lies, watch their body language. Most do the same. They will put on their poor little innocent me face and will not look you in the eye, until they have spewed out some lame excuse. Only then will they make eye contact to see if you bought that sad of crap. If you don't believe their story, they will either start faking crying and become really aggressive, or start attacking you for blasting a hole in their false narrative. After spending some time with the narcissist, you'll find that you are more of a detective than a friend, a spouse, lover, or a neighbor to them. The relationship would be a normal one with healthy interactions. It will be just trying to decode and decipher all the hidden motives and meanings that the narcissist throws at you that simply can't be trusted. When a narcissist has a common element that they exaggerate and make it bigger than it really is, especially on social media, where others can't see the truth of the situation. If they had surgery, it was longer and more complicated than it really was. When they say that they were so bad off that they were in ICU for days, when they were really in the post-op ward, the recovery is taking longer than normal because of the seriousness of the illness. What does narcissists get from this reception? Attention, sympathy, gifts, and sometimes money to get help with their bills while they are battling to stay alive. These people are nothing but con artists, and everything they say is a scam. The unsuspecting, good-hearted people of the world. The monkey dance is just another childish tactic that the narcissist uses to try to intimidate their victims into submitting to whatever the narcissist wants. Like a toddler, they will scream, throw things, bang on walls, hit themselves, and fake cry hysterically. This worked when they were children, and their underdeveloped brain doesn't understand that they are now adults as an adult world. So they play this game on whoever will buy into it. Narcissists cannot function without feeding off the goodness in others. You can get easily scammed by them because you don't stay awake at night thinking of ways to take advantage of others or lose sleep plotting to destroy people like they do. You also don't expect other people to behave this way, and because of that, they see you as an easy mark. To protect yourself from these vampires, you need to stay vigilant and save your trust until that trust is earned. Some narcissists turn to the internet and become online predators. The World Wide Web is a huge playground that they can scam people, but on this persona in the brick house, they also use it to release some of the constant anger they feel toward humanity, and with anonymity attack others with vile insults and threats. Narcissists use people. If an ex-lover or ex-friend suddenly shows up out of the blue, it's not because they care about you or with you. They want something, be an attention manipulates to stay an alibi, or just to make their current partner jealous. They are seeking some gain from you. Don't think that they have changed into a loving, kind person since you have last heard from them. In fact, they have probably learned many new tactics to add to their bag of tricks, and they count on you forgetting all the harm they have done to you. Narcissists are morally disordered people. You know this because you have to explain things like empathy to them, and have to point out how they are hurting others with their cruel acts. If they do apologize, which is rare, don't excuse their bad behavior so quickly. If they do are really sorry, they will apologize, attempt to make amends, and not repeat the behavior again. You shouldn't have to explain the basic social skill to a grown-up person. Are you mostly confused and wondering what just happened when dealing with a certain person? Do you find yourself doubting your own instincts and perceptions with conversing with this person? Do you feel Like there's something wrong with you by the way you're looking at it. You're probably being gaslighted by a narcissist who's the master of illusion and deception. Trust your gut when it tells you that something is off and feels wrong. A lot of narcissists have substance abuse issues because it benefits them in many ways. Not only can they tell the reality of how they really are, but they can use it to excuse for their bad behavior, with mistreating others and not being a responsible adult. Being drunk or high most of the time also allows them to not be there physically and emotionally for their family and friends, so there are no demands on them. I can't pick you up even though you are broke down on the side of the road because I have been drinking. I'm sorry that you are devastated by the loss of your beloved pet. But I have been for days on these pills and I need to rest now. They expect everyone to be on the journey on the spot when they are in need, but will be rarely there for you in your time of need. Ever get tired of explaining basic relationship skills to an adult? You may be dealing with narcissists. Like toddlers, narcissists will give you the silent treatment or raise you instead of doing conflict resolution as an adult. These toddler tactics are so ingrained in their brains that they will choose the easy way out. Every time you're basically battling a child into an adult's body, the relationship can only be a parent-child relationship. Intellectually, as always, look behind the mask and run like hell. Narcissism isn't a mental illness or chemical imbalance. It's a character disorder. It can't be fixed. You can't teach a grown person or have empathy. You either have it or you don't. You could talk yourself blue in the face, telling them that stealing, lying, and cheating is wrong, and it's not going to change a thing they do. Deception is a part of their personality. They live to lie on a daily basis. While trying to converse with the narcissist, you will usually find them talking rude and condescending to you. If you start talking the same way back to them, they will certainly act like little victims and claim that they are being mean to you. You are being mean to them. You are not allowed to behave as they do or defend yourself in the twisted minds. As I was fighting for you to hit me, that I was fighting to be lied to, fighting to be taken for granted, fighting to be disappointed, fighting to be hurt again, so I started fighting to let go. Narcissists will disrespect, mishandle, or destroy your property without a second thought and then get mad at you when you try to hold them accountable for it. They don't care about you or your things. You will treat both any way they want. You can like it or love it. The narcissists think that they are so special that they should be honored, that they are using your property and that they are even in your presence. It's really sad that the adult survivor of the narcissist mothers had to go through life feeling the love and security that a mother can give her child. It's heartbreaking that they didn't have that rock to fall back on the times of trouble. It's disturbing that these mothers hurled insults instead of building their children up to face the world. All of their suffering is not in vain. No. These survivors are some of the best parents because they value the lesson that they have learned is how not to be selfish and carrying monster. Narcissists move very easily without the constant attention of others. They feed on your attention and energy as vampires feed on the blood of others. It doesn't matter if you love them or hate them as long as they are on your mind and they can get a reaction from you. Either way, they are manipulating your feelings and have power over you. It's no win situation for you, and the only way out is to show them no emotion and they will grow on to their next victim. Narcissists can't bond with you or anyone else. That's why when you have a disagreement with them or call them out on one of their lies, they are ready to hit the door. You are just there to adore and obey them. And if you don't play your role, they will just move on to someone that will. This person will eventually disagree with them and call them out on their BS and will be discarded just like the many others before them. When the narcissist is caught in a lie or have a really bad story for explaining their behavior, they start freaking out and they will bring you for interrogating them. They can get very aggressive if you did a little research and have proof that they were lying. When they say that something is wrong with you for investigating the incident instead of just believing their lies, attacking you also takes the focus off their actions and put the spotlight on you. Stop the narcissist now. This narcissist spirit is a force to be reckoned with. The person before who doesn't have a sense of fair play and will do anything to win first prize in breaking your spirit and making you beg for more. We are less of a target if you remember this and deal with them accordingly. The first rule of engagement is to know your enemy. Never let an adversary break your spirit. Your spirit is your essence. The monkey dance is just another childish tactic that the narcissist uses to try to intimidate their victims into submitting to whatever the narcissist wants, like a toddler that will scream, throw things, bang on walls, hit themselves, and fake cry hysterically. This worked when they were children, and their underdeveloped brain doesn't understand that they are now adults and in adult world, so they play this game whoever will buy into it. Narcissists have playing games with you, especially on online or text messages version. They will start with a conversation with you, and when you respond, they will ignore you. If you repeatedly message them back to keep the conversation going while being ignored, the narcissist will feel superior because it proves that they can disrespect others and still be sought after. If you call them out on this game, they will say that they were busy and you must be paranoid or needed to think else ourselves. To heal from the damage of the narcissist caused, we must admit that we were fooled and that the thing taken from us was our innocence. We were naive about the fact that such wild people exist. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Don't take on the shame that a narcissist should be feeling. Don't let them project that on you. That their way to shut you up about their dirty